Welcome to Newsnight, your one-stop destination for news and analysis on the day's biggest news stories. Tonight we get you an exclusive interview with Delhi Police Commissioner Neeraj Kumar on the IPL spot-fixing scandal. And just days ahead of the Chinese Premier's visit to India, his first overseas visit since coming to power, we ask, will a swift resolution of the border dispute be the key focus of his visit? For new Chinese Premier Li Keqiang's visit to India, the question is, what will it mean for the future of Sino-India ties, and how much of a shadow will the recent border standoff cast on his visit? That because you say that these are that China views these two issues as assets which India can use to China's detriment.
Don't misunderstand me. I see these as natural assets that India has. And what I tried to convey was that if you were a Chinese planner, you would see these as assets that India can use against.
Issues, Tibet-Indian Ocean, which are two...
The territorial dispute resolution with Russia in 1996, with Central Asian republics almost coinciding with that time.
And was to replicate the same with India.
Yeah, that's the standard procedure that the Chinese followed.
Right,
so demilitarization is one there also.
Why does China always up the aggression ahead of the visit of a top political leader? It did so in 2006 ahead of Hu Jintao's visit, where it revived its claim on Arunachal Pradesh. It did so ahead of 2010 visit of the former Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao, when it started giving stapled visas to Indians. Why is there a pattern?
I do not see a pattern, frankly. I mean, if we take incursions per se, if you look at the total number of incursions which are spread over 3 years, there are almost 600, more than 600 incursions. And if you look at the effect here, that because a visit is happening, they up the ante by making this huge kind of a controversy. What do they gain by it, really? And if you look at the manner in which the entire episode was handled and the visits went on, there was an attempt to get over this. And therefore, I'm not inclined to actually have a conspiracy theory about this. There can be other factors.
We're talking about conspiracy theories.
As far as the specific question of what we should do in these negotiations is concerned, I would only ask you to bear in mind, what would you see? They are working, and we ought to be working towards managing this relationship. And therefore, we have to look at the boundary question in terms of arrangements that will keep it tranquil, which is what we have been trying to do. The problem is that when it comes to specifics, we get run into
Diplomatic cost of such incursion vis-a-vis by China.
It's not clear, and that basically goes back to the transgression issue and what has been sorted out in the May 3rd, final flag meeting and then dispersal of the troops. The initial agenda of the MEA spokesman, that status quo, we need to go back to the status quo. I think we reached that level in terms of these PLA troops going back from where they have come. Of course, they also said that the Indian troops should also go back, which is where Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister suggested why we should be going back. If we think that this is our land, then why should we be going? And obviously it will have an impact on Premier Li Keqiang's visit, which is where the territorial dispute aspect has come up for the first time. In 1981, when the discussion started on the territorial dispute, the Indian side said that we need to resolve this immediately. The Chinese side concurred, but in 1982 they started saying this will be resolved ultimately or by the next generation. We're still waiting for that next generation to come, although Chinese leadership had gone up to the 5th generation. So in terms of the territorial dispute resolution, this is the first time where this has become the focus.
There on the boundary question in the talks between the Chinese Prime Minister as well as the Indian political establishment. Well, you can catch all the latest news from the world of politics, sports and business at DD News Twitter handle. It is DD News Live round the clock. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching News Night. Here's a recap of the headlines. In an exclusive interview, Dr. Munmun has endorsed the need for laws for migrant workers as well as domestic workers. While inaugurating the 45th Indian Labour Conference, he has promised to engage with the trade unions on all the demands. With us, our Twitter handle is DD News Night. We'll see you again on Monday. Until then, goodbye. Take care. Enjoy your weekend.